What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Heroes Show. You got Corey and Nick with you here today. And in this video, we're doing something a little bit different mid-season review of what is, I guess, not really a new show anymore. We're 5 weeks into it, or 5 episodes at least, of Invasion, which is a new series that is on Apple TV Plus. Nick, how are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing well. I've watched a lot of shows this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've been
I've been
busy.
binging. Whew. Yeah, but it was all right though, change in the weather here in Florida. It was
Yeah, man,
nice.
I got my Watcher hoodie on.
Yeah.
I'm rocking and rolling, man. I'm loving this cold
Yeah,
weather
I'm
that
like
we're having
actually
down here.
being able to wear a thermal and
I
a
know.
hoodie at some point. So
It's a beautiful thing. And for
yes.
definition, for anyone who's not from Florida, it's like 65. That's our definition of cold. So
Yeah.
we're out in like scarves and beanies and shit. It's a good time. So
Yeah, it
there
dropped.
there will be some spoilers in this video of the first 5 episodes of Invasion. So if you have not watched it yet, this might be a good place to click the pause button, go check out those episodes, then come back and see us if you so choose. Also, we're hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you can go ahead and click that subscribe button for us, like this video as well, really helps out support the channel. It's a free way of doing so. We greatly appreciate it. So, Invasion is an interesting television show
That it
uh,
is.
for a myriad of reasons. So it's marketed and billed as a sci-fi show, which makes sense because the showrunner is Simon Kinberg, who, if you don't know who he is, he's got an interesting path that he's taken through Hollywood. You have seen movies that he's been involved in. He was a writer and director on a whole bunch of the new X-Men films. So
Mm.
he was a producer on First Class. He wrote The Last Stand, writer and producer on Days of Future Past. He was a producer on Deadpool and Deadpool 2. He actually directed Dark Phoenix, which is apparently a terrible movie that I haven't even seen
It
just
was not
because
good.
I did not enjoy many of the ones that
It
came
was not
before it.
good.
At the same time, though, he's a producer on Ridley Scott's The Martian. He did the original Sherlock Holmes film with Robert Downey Jr.
Hmm.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. He's credited as a writer on. So
Oh, nice.
an interesting career thus far, and he got handed the keys to this show by Apple, which reportedly has a $200 million budget
It's
over the course
big.
of 10 episodes. Which you can see that in the show. It's a very pretty looking and sounding show.
Yeah.
The premise is there's an invasion, as you can imagine by the title of the show.
Spoiler.
It's an alien invasion, even though you don't really see too many aliens, at least in these first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And the way they approach it is through the lens of a bunch of different perspectives scattered all throughout the globe. So there's a small town in middle America. There's a place in upstate New York,
Yep.
Japan, the United Kingdom. I think it's Afghanistan
Yeah.
where the troops are. I think
Yeah. Afghanistan.
so. You've got a whole bunch of different perspectives on this invasion and how it's going. And the first 5 episodes have been a whole lot of setup. And it
Yes.
feels like at the midpoint of the show, things are finally starting to pick up, and we're starting to get into the actual alien part a little bit. But Nick, we haven't really talked about this much. Uh, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this show now that we're halfway through the first season already.
Right. Yeah. I think going into the show and when it first premiered, we got 3 episodes at once, and then one episode since then. After the first 3 episodes came out, the first thing that obviously stood out to me was this is very, very drama filled. And there's not a lot of action. There's a lot of character building, which for someone like myself, I like when characters get built and established. But in some cases, I'm wondering if there's just a little bit too much.
Okay.
Like it's a little heavy on the family in New York, where there's the drama between the husband and the wife. Who he's the husband's cheating on her,
Mhm.
and it's there's all this family drama, right? That just
A
goes
lot of it.
on, and meanwhile, you know going into the show, I'm like, oh my god, Sam Neill's in this, Karen Fukuhara's in this, like, you know, and they die in the first episode. And I'm
uh,
like, this can't
yeah.
be it. There's something else. They're gonna be like absorbed into the alien, and then it's going to take over them as a host. Maybe nope, nope, none of that. So that was one of the things where I mean, maybe they will come back at some point, but I'm pretty sure they're dead. That's gonna be my bet. And so I was kind of bummed, you know, and I'm like, so there's a bunch of no-named actors in here. Like, I mean, actually, no, sorry, I take that back. The actress, who I think her name is Anish in this, uh,
Anisha, yes.
Anisha. So she was also in Extraction with Chris Hemsworth,
Oh
and
man, she was, wasn't she?
yeah,
Oh, you're right.
yeah, which she was great in that.
Yeah, as if I
But
needed an excuse to rewatch that movie. That
yeah,
movie
exactly.
slaps like no other, man.
And we
That's a
got a
great
second one
action
on the
film.
way. So
Hell yeah, we do. Hemsworth
uh,
getting into shape for it right now.
yep. And I want to say, as if he wasn't in all shape already, but
Yeah, I know, right?
but back to Invasion. So I think she's been she's kind of like out of everyone the she seems like the main protagonist of the
Yeah,
show,
I think so.
and I feel like she's really helped carrying the show individually, and you know the stuff with that's going on in JASA, or JASA, how
Which
you call it,
is that a
NASA,
real
NASA,
thing or did they
JASA.
just make that up?
I
I'm gonna
don't
look
know,
that up
man.
right
I
now.
like I meant to, and I just never I put it off. But I think that has some interesting stuff, right? But again, the love, like the relationship between them, it's like it's been over dramatized, and to the point where she meets her father, or she meets the father, and they're like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
why we haven't spoken since then." But he used to work for JASA. And I'm like, "Oh, well, that probably would have, you know, been nice to know." But now we know it. And then, um, did your subwoofer? And you know the part where he turns his like sound up, dude. My
It was
subwoofer
great.
was going crazy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit!"
That's actually one of my favorite things about the show so far is the sound design.
Yeah, the audio has been fabulous for
It
the show.
very good. I think it's in the very first episode when the JASA shuttle
Takes off.
crashes or
Yeah,
whatever,
crash. Yeah,
and they
yeah,
get sucked out into space. It's building, it's building. There's stuff going on in your surround speakers. There's stuff flying all over the room, and then all of a sudden, no sound whatsoever.
yeah,
Like the floor just drops out. Like effects like that are super cool, in my
yeah,
opinion. And a lot of the firefight stuff in Afghanistan, with Travante's character,
yeah.
really really cool stuff there. And yeah, that scene where it's like an old tape deck thing that they're trying to use to analyze the voice,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
as soon as he cranked it up, they even show a subwoofer on the screen wobbling
Yeah.
at the same time. Yours are. I have two subwoofers in my room, and they were both. It was pressurized. It was nice. I like it.
Yeah. I will say the audio in the show has been really nice. Obviously the visuals of this because of that large budget. But yeah, there's been some really cool shots. You know, like with
Yep.
the horizon in upstate New York, these long panning out shots have been really cool. Um, and you know, I want to say I appreciate the buildup. I just hope it doesn't continue for much longer,
Right.
because I think, and again, I think this fifth episode, and then we're kind of conveniently halfway through the show, or
Mhm.
first season rather, where we kind of see some things that are starting to make a little bit more sense,
Yep.
especially with um, Casper kind of having this weird reaction to
Yeah.
like the metal, um and you know he has like, it almost like seems like he might have had a premonition at one point, because he has like these drawings
Mhm.
that are very much real,
Yep.
and it's not making any sense to him. And then of course we see when Anisha, she wanders off to go get food, is taken by the army, and is like, "Hey, I'm a doctor." You know, she would have been a doctor. but she kind of sacrificed her career for her husband's, right?
Right.
But she still knows how to do things and clearly hasn't forgotten and still has a steady hand and saves someone's life on that
Mhm.
table. And she pulls out this organic life form,
Yeah.
which seemingly dies as it's being taken out of the host.
I don't trust that.
Yeah, no, I'm like, and so I'm like, I wonder if that little thing has also somehow made its way into Casper, and
Bro,
that's why he's having this connection.
they put that little thing in a bedpan.
Yeah,
And I was like, nah, man, you need to put that in something and seal it up. You don't want that guy coming back to life and then
or burn
wreaking
it.
havoc on you.
Yeah, just something needs to happen where it just no longer lives. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like it died again, but I don't know. I still don't trust it. And I think for the sake of going forward at this point, and like we did see a brief moment of it, and I think in episode 3 where Travanti, uh, or that whole his whole squad basically gets blown away or something like that. Something weird happens,
Oh,
that weird
yeah, you
anomaly,
actually
right?
kinda see the
You
shit,
kind of
right?
see it. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
shooting
Mhm.
at it, but it's like, is the whole thing alive or is there something inside of it, right? I mean, and then of course in the ending of episode 1, when Sam Neill gets killed,
Yeah.
you see like this crater and there's something that's crawling around inside it, and then it kind of, I don't know, lashes out and hits him in the back of the head or
Like, back
something
of the
and
neck or the
stabs
head
him.
or something,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
and dies.
And then we don't see
Maybe.
Sam Neill again.
Yeah. So,
Like,
it's
really
very
weird.
strange, very, very strange. And
Like,
I'm
I know
kind
I
of,
texted you and I said, um, he can't be, like, actually dead, right? Like, this has to be like a Jared Harris and Foundation type thing where spoilers if you haven't seen that, go watch our other videos, but, like, he's the lead of that show, right? He's the biggest actor that they've got.
yeah,
You can't just like kill him off and then have him be gone. But so far, it seems like that's the case with Sam Neill's character. He was there for one whole episode. He did some good work. I actually was pretty
yeah,
invested in the character that they had built in that one episode. But now I'm
yeah,
curious to see like when the aliens finally do show up. Like, is he like a pawn for them or something? Are they going to use him
right.
kind of like Vincent D'Onofrio's character in Men in Black,
Yes.
the sugar water guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
Very, very, very interesting to see if that actually ends up happening. And I haven't looked to see if it shows like on IMDb how many episodes he's in or anything
Eh,
like that, because I kind of don't
I
want
don't wanna
to.
know that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's going to take away from the outlook of the show and
Yep.
maybe what it seems for his character. But uh, I don't know. Like, I want to see where the second half goes. I kind of think that the second half of the show and season will be better. Now that there's been enough establishment, we've got the
Mhm.
president of the United States clarifying and announcing that this is an extraterrestrial
Yep.
invasion. It is alien to this
Yep.
planet. But that's about it. There's nothing else that's known about
Yeah.
it, and but yet, the Japan knows a little bit more, and I thought that was pretty interesting how they're like, these aren't people that work for JASA, these are
Right.
linguistics,
Yeah. So
and
they're trying to study the language and figure out what the heck these creatures are
yeah,
saying, right?
and I remember, I think it was that they when you first hear it, Wagyo, I looked up what Wagyo meant, and it is a um uh was it a Japanese term? I want to say it was, but
Hmm.
there's a little bit more to it. But I kind of wonder what else it might mean, or what else, like who it's actually coming from.
Right.
And I like that mystery of it. I really hope this show doesn't turn into like one of those primetime shows, like Lost or something. Where it takes so long to build up, because this isn't like a 24 episode series. This is a 10 episode series. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're halfway done. We're in the initial descent now, right?
right.
Yeah.
So, we're in the second half of this book, and the last chapter is going, well, where is it going to end potentially?
Right.
If this is, and again, I, I really hope it gets better so that we can have a second season. Because as much as they've poured into this show, for it not to succeed, that's a lot of money to just dump and
Uh,
then
Boy, is
burn.
it.
Because I haven't looked at the scores. You kind of are saving that for my surprise to kind of talk about. But
Yes.
again, I think the positives here are again the audio, the visuals, the acting has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, the character development has been really good. You know what part I really liked was when Travanti was talking with the uh, man in Afghanistan with the camel.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if he
Yeah.
had a name or not, but just that whole series, that whole sort of journey that they went on, they didn't understand anything. And then even they're like, it's at night, there's a little fire, and they're kind of looking up at the sky and they're talking to each other as if they could understand each other.
Mhm.
And I think
Yep.
Travanti's like, I'm talking to you like you could understand me. And then like the man would like talk and um in his native tongue and Travanti has no idea what's going on either, what he's
Yep.
saying. And but I don't know, it was like a wholesome moment just where two people that don't understand each other can still get along and
Mhm.
still sort of travel together to a
Yeah.
destination, and I
In a
think that
moment of crisis, right? Like they
right,
come together and they can be friends even if
right.
they
You know,
can't figure out what they're
eh,
trying to say to one
yeah,
another.
and you just got one guy who's clearly just um a journeyman, and then you've got military, right? Guys
Yeah.
in gear, uh, and it's got a firearm, but at the same time, like there's no threat there,
Right.
and he's just on a mission to try and get back to his squad or whatever, and um, runs into some trouble, of course, but you know, he finds one of his squad mates
Mhm.
who bites the bullet. He
Not
kind
in
of
good shape.
he's not looking too good these days, and
Yeah.
um but yeah, like it's interesting because he's the only one, and I know that in the trailer he talks to someone from intelligence about what he saw.
Okay.
So we haven't seen that
I
yet.
haven't seen that. Right.
Yeah, and I'm wondering when the hell is that going to happen?
Well,
Maybe next episode. Again, I'm hoping the
I'm
next
not
half
sure,
turns
man.
up.
The next episode is only 33 minutes long. I don't know if you looked on.
Oh wow, I did not. So
It's a short one. Yeah.
there better be a lot of action or something involved in that. Like,
I,
hey, we had to condense the length because we poured a lot of budget into this episode.
could be. This could be the first time we actually see the
Some
aliens.
aliens, yeah.
Right. I mean, possibly. But so these Rotten Tomatoes scores. I want you to guess the critic score and
Oh
then the
god.
audience score.
Critically, I'm gonna go like 40%.
Okay.
Um, I'll say audience score is like maybe 60.
Hmm. So you're close on the critics.
Okay.
Critics are at 35,
Jeez.
and audience score is only a 43. Interesting, right?
So they're not too far off from one another.
So I think the critic thing is it is what it is. You know, if it's not like a super high concept thing or whatever, they're probably going to shit on it. But
Yeah.
like for audiences, it's interesting because I think the show is moving very slowly,
Yeah, it is.
and I
Yeah.
think that turns a lot of people off. I personally, I don't mind a slow burn. I think Better Call Saul is one of the best shows on television, and that parts of that show are literally like watching paint dry, but they do it in a way that's like extraordinarily cool and efficient. But for this one, 30, 35, and 43, which
Yeesh.
I find interesting because
Yeah.
I feel like this show is full of homages to other alien slash
Other
horror
sci-fis,
things.
yeah.
Like there's some War of the World stuff in here.
Exactly. I was just
There's
about to
some
say that.
there's some Independence Day in this. Alien and Aliens with the creature inside
It's the
the host
body of
body in
the
the
yeah.
last episode. Um, with the kids, there's even like a little bit of a Stranger Things vibe.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's something that on paper should be largely successful, and it seems like so far people are not 100% into it, which is kind of a bummer because I know it like the average TV viewer gives a show like 3 to 4 episodes before they decide whether or not they're fully sold on it,
In
and
it, yeah.
we're 5 in, and the reception hasn't been quite there. But we'll see what the second half has to share. Hopefully, the ball starts rolling down the hill. Um, moving forward. But I mean, I don't dislike the show. I think the scores are a little bit lower than what it maybe should be getting. It's not, it's not Breaking Bad or The Sopranos. It's not a 90% type thing for me, but
Right.
I don't think it's a 35 or a 43 either.
No, I think there's a lot just I say misunderstanding with this show, but where I can understand where the slowness might come in, but I think for me it's it's compelling enough to have a concept that again I think because it's slow might not be fitting for some people
Mhm.
because I think people are so used to either just being able to binge something all the way through or just have something like ready. So to have this slow burn and be like, well, nothing happened. Well, nothing happened. Well, where's the
Right.
alien? Where's the alien? Like, what's the point though? It's to kind of keep you guessing and to build these characters up to
Exactly.
establish. And I think a lot of people just want this like action and then like you're like, well, who are the characters? I don't know. They all died. Like,
Just want aliens.
yeah, it's like,
Aliens, man. The
you know,
aliens.
listen, this again, this isn't an action movie that's supposed to have or action show that's supposed to have a lot of aliens in it to convey this action show. It has drama in it,
Sure.
and I appreciate the characterizations. I think again some of it could maybe ease back a little bit on, and I think some of it could be cut out just to maybe move the whole story forward just a little bit more.
Right.
Um, but again, maybe I'll have a uh different opinion when the season's over.
Right.
And I think for my hope for the show is that this second half maybe gets people back or maybe helps people's scores go higher.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of the conversation we had with Foundation. As we're in that second half of that show,
Which
which we'll be
has
talking
really
about
kicked it
later.
into high gear
Yeah,
in the back half of the season. So
yeah. So I think
we'll
that might
see.
be the same for this show. That's kind of my hope that it does that. I think people, and maybe I don't know what other people are covering this show out there, but if
I haven't
YouTube's
seen
kind
one.
enough to us, and they like to throw our this video into the mix of things, and people might
Give
see
us a
this.
little algo, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the sake of thinking about where this show is paying its homages to, that's something to you kind of give some more credit to the show overall, where it's like what it is pulling from Aliens and Stranger Things and War of the Worlds and Independence Day and
Mhm.
maybe some Men in Black at some point. Like,
Yeah.
and I think with someone like Simon Kinberg who's been around and knows some things about fiction
For better or for
lore.
worse.
Yeah. I mean some of those listen, touching X-Men alone with Fox was just a bad
It's
idea.
it's tricky.
Period.
He also wrote that Fantastic Four movie from 2015 that Josh Trank directed.
Mm.
So it's like,
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
but
We'll
again
see.
again, I think the characters have been written well, but it's more so the overall plot that will concern me. Tying everything together.
Sure.
I get you're kind of giving us all these avenues around the world, and you're doing a pretty good job with that. But where's the connection? Where is this
Right.
center focus point in the show? So we'll find out if this next episode is going to be shorter. Maybe they'll throw more into it, and that's where they'll start to kind of bring it home, and we'll start to round the bases and actually maybe end with a pretty interesting season finale, maybe a cliffhanger.
Or yeah, we don't
Um,
know if there's a second season. There's been nothing from Apple on that as of
yeah,
now. So who knows?
yeah.
I
So
don't know. I think for me, it's like a 6 out of 10 for the first 5 episodes.
yeah, I was going to say the reason why I even said 60% is that's kind of where I was leaning to.
Right. Yeah. Like
Like,
I'm not racing to the television to watch it every Friday when it comes out, but I haven't been bored while watching it, and I'm curious to see where it goes. And if it's good by the end, we'll hope for a second season. If not, it is what it is, right?
yeah, exactly. And just to quickly look to see what, yeah, Invasion is doing on IMDb. That's a 5.8 out of 10.
Okay. So
So,
around where we're at.
yeah. And again, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. So, for the sake of just us talking about it and seeing where it goes, yeah, maybe it'll get renewed for second season.
Yeah, well, we'll be back in another 5 weeks to cover the the second half of the season because we've got more than enough to talk about here moving forward. So that's going
Yep.
to wrap it up for this video. Would love to hear from you guys, though.
Yes, indeed.
Are you watching this show? Is it moving too slowly for you? Do you like the homages to some alien movies of days past? Let us know in that comment section. We'll make sure to respond to everything that comes through. If you like this video, click that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, as I mentioned at the top, we're marching on our way towards 1,000.
Yep.
Everybody's doing a great job contributing to help get us there, but we do still need some help. So please go ahead and click subscribe. Check us out on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Real Heroes Show. We have lots of stuff planned for this week. We've got
Bordeaux ever.
this video. We've got Foundation episode 8, which was a great episode. Eternals live stream. Nick's going to review what is Narcos Mexico season
Yep.
3?
Season
Okay,
3,
I can't
yeah.
keep up with how many seasons of Narcos and the spinoffs there are. There's a whole bunch, and then The Shrink Next Door is also premiering this week on Apple TV Plus as well.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to try to squeeze in reviews for Finch and The Harder They Fall, which came out on Apple TV and Netflix this past weekend too. So God knows if we'll get to all that, but we're sure as hell going to try our hardest. So
Yep.
Stay tuned for all of those things and so much more. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.